welcome to Follow Startups. This is Ankita Pahava, your host, and today we are here with someone who is on a very committed mission to build India's fastest growing digital audio entertainment business. If you are an avid podcast listener, chances are you may have come across his productions at some point, and that's Aditya Kuber for you. Aditya is the co-founder and CEO of Ideabrew Studios, which is a full stack audio solution company. Let's start with him to get answers to all our burning questions. Hi Aditya, welcome to Follow Startup.
Hi, Ankita. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Very excited to talk about our journey.
I have so many questions for you, Aditya, but first, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and what led you to this point in your career?
How much time do we have? Because that's quite a long story now. So I'm a media professional of with about 25 years experience, and I started out with nothing to do with audio, to be very honest. And over the years, staying within the media, one develops a little bit of an understanding for trends, emerging opportunities. So having started out in the print days, working for newspapers and magazines, to then moving on to work for digital platforms like Yahoo and AOL. Had a first entrepreneurial venture for 7 years in between there, and then moving back to the workplace in 2015. Audio was just about coming into its own in India. It was globally somewhat accepted. It wasn't a massive market, but in India, it was just starting out. I mean, in my first year when I was setting up Audio Boom's India operations, I remember finding just about 12 or 15 podcasters and podcast companies of any note. It was that small a market compared to today, where there's a few 100,000 of them. And over that period, in the last 7 years, I've seen this entire ecosystem expand and explode. In my journey, I also, in fact, spent time working at Book My Show, set up their content operations and an audio streaming business for them. And then around 2020, at the peak of the pandemic, figured, we need a little more excitement in life. So let's become an entrepreneur. And that's how Idea Brew Studios came about. We have had only one goal, which is how do we take audio and digital storytelling mainstream. That's the one major problem that we're looking to solve.
I have read about the different things you do, like podcast production, hosting, distribution, monetization. But to put all that to rest, can you give us a better understanding of what all happens at Idea Brew Studios today?
So today, if you think of us as a content solutions company, I think that's a slightly better description of it. And at the center of all of the content solutions that we offer is audio. Now, you could consume this audio in digital through our own app and our own platform called Bingepods, or you could consume this on any of your preferred audio platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, JioSaavn, all great partners that we work with. We're also starting to distribute our content now across radio platforms. We've recently put out some of our content, which we create in Marathi, on a couple of radio platforms. So at the center, at our heart, we're a content creation company, and we selected audio and a little bit of video now as a way to tell our stories. So at Idea Brew Studios, we think purely content for brands, for creators, and for a lot of other businesses as well.
And when did you establish?
We started operations in August of 2020, so we're coming in on 3 years now.
Wow. So, in terms of development, how would you describe the current stage of your startup?
I'd say we are close to being a mature company now. I mean, after 3 years, having stayed profitable for 3 years, and staying bootstrapped all through this period, we've understood, and we have a very deep understanding today of what works, what doesn't work from a content point of view. In terms of our life cycle and how mature we are, we're still a small team. We're still just about 20 odd people that work together on this. We were born during the pandemic, so not everyone is in one place. Some people are in Delhi. There are others in some other cities as well, but we're largely based out of Mumbai. And we are close. I'd say we're almost mature as a business now.
So, with every solution, every service that you have to offer, who do you primarily serve to? Like, talk to us about your target market.
So I'd split our target market into two. One is some B2B services that we offer. For instance, corporate solutions that we offer large corporations, for whom audio has become an internal communications tool. These are companies with 50, 60,000 global employees. And and the problem statement was, hey, I'm sending a lot of newsletters with company information that nobody seems to be opening. Is there a better way for me to engage with my employees? And we've come up with ways where audio, because of its passive nature and its anywhere accessibility, has given higher returns to HR and Copcom teams for internal communication and internal messaging. On the other side of it, so one sort of target audience for us, or target customer for us, becomes corporates who want to leverage audio and go beyond the traditional internal communications route. The second, of course, is the audience at large, the guy on the street who's looking for entertainment, who's looking for information. And in that, we start to layer it with various creator abilities, various language offerings, whether it is news, whether it is information, and or it is pure entertainment. So the two major groups that we service, to put it in a nutshell, are businesses as well as individual customers.
That sounds exciting. Tell us more. Like, how do you exactly work with creators and corporates? Can you give us some examples from your successful partnerships?
Without naming one of our major corporate clients, who is a global conglomerate amongst India's top five corporate conglomerates, I think that narrows it down to who we're working with. So we've been working with them for over a year, and what started out as a way for their leadership to speak internally has evolved into today us also creating bespoke shows, short series for them, which further highlight and go beyond just an interview or a conversation format. So this company does so much work in different spaces, from ESG, and from being able to define the new future of the workplace, for instance, that we're able to actually use a lot of their work itself to do storytelling for internal stakeholders. On the B2C side, we have created and we're continuing to run a whole host of IPs with some really known creators, Dr. Cuterus, Kiran Manral, Anam, Ayaz Memon, RK. Uh, I'm sure I'm missing out Ankur Variku, and there's a whole host of creators that we work with in different capacities. In a lot of cases, we get involved right from coming up with a concept to defining the show flow to defining who we are bringing on the show, and we continue to grow it for them as well. So a lot of exciting stuff coming out over the next 3 to 4 months, again, as we continue to expand into the fiction space, have a little bit more happening in the creative side of things as well.
You mentioned a bunch of creators, but who are some customers or brands you currently have in your pipeline?
So the BFSI vertical, for instance, is one that has taken very strongly to audio. So we work very closely with SBI Mutual Fund, Angel One. We've done work with Policy Bazaar in the past. In the B2C side, so to speak, or even in the non-BFSI space, we work with Park Avenue, Think Kitchen. We've done solutions for Rajasthan Royals in the IPL. So quite a wide array of partners and clients for whom we've created audio solutions. We also work very closely with platforms, Spotify, JioSaavn, Audible. All of these are very close partners, and we're working in different capacities, solving different types of problems with each of them.
Great. They still say that podcasting in India is in its nascent stage, which makes me even more curious to know what your revenue model is. How do you generate revenue?
So yes, it is somewhat nascent in the sense that while the audience development has happened, there's 60, 70 million podcast consumers in India every month today. On the revenue side of things, the business models are still maturing. There's still a fair bit of experimentation that's happening. For us, we have two primary revenue models. One where we work on brand solutioning for brands, and that is again a very tried and tested business model where we create content for a brand and we're paid for that content. Our role, of course, goes beyond just creating it to the distribution and the growth and ensuring ROI on that as well. The second is advertising or ad funded content, for so to speak. So this is where it's a standard advertising model or a sponsorship model, because today in the digital audio space, there is granularity of data available for the ads that are being served, or for the sponsor to know what the reach of their efforts has been. That's a growing space for us. So these are our two primary business model. A third business model that's starting to emerge slowly is a direct sort of influencer led model, like we see on Instagram or other social platforms, where for creators who've built a strong enough audience, there are brands willing to engage at a very tactical level. Hey, can I have a presence in one episode? Can you do a branded piece or a branded episode for our product? So that's something which is starting to grow, and these are business models which will mature over the next 6 to 12 months, I believe.
So do you have any noteworthy numbers associated with the success of your business so far?
Well, I don't know if I can share revenue numbers right now, but I can definitely tell you that we reach between 4 to 4.5 million consumers every month across multiple platforms. Today, amongst the top podcast networks in the country, managing about 470 shows as of June 2023. This number will continue to grow because our ambition is to become the preferred audio or digital audio storytelling destination for India.
Impressive. I think nowadays we do see more brands embracing audio content as a powerful marketing tool. And to complement that, we are also seeing more creators experimenting with podcast as one of their content formats, right? So, how do you ensure a win-win situation for both of them? How do you ensure brands to effectively reach their target audience while at the same time enabling creators to achieve their desired monetary benefit?
So, like with any content that is created for a brand, we have to ensure that there is enough push given for the content to be discovered and then consumed. So, while we're able to create great content, make sure it is available on as many platforms out there as possible. See, unlike video, where YouTube is the go to destination and therefore the entire world is looking at YouTube to consume video, in audio there are at least 10 or 12 platforms in India that matter, and that's where the audience is split. Result, we need to make sure that for a particular brand, for the target audience they want to reach, we are working closely with one of these platforms where the opportunity for success is maximum. And this includes editorial partnerships, this includes and media spends happening on these platforms. Plus, we continue to use external resources like social media to create awareness and sort of create a top of the funnel uh, demand for this content. From a creator side, a lot of our creators already have very strong social media presence. So, creating awareness is not a problem. And with our creators, therefore, we focus a little bit more on trying different formats of content to drive higher engagement. So, success metrics on both will differ. With a brand, it's a mix of the reach, which is to say the volume of people that we've reached, and the consumption as well, which is the qualitative consumption of it. With creators, it's similar metrics, but the focus is slightly more on engagement and how much of the content has actually been consumed. While the absolute numbers may not be that critical in the case of a creator.
Awesome. Have you secured financial backing from any investors so far?
No, we are bootstrapped, and we've grown ourselves entirely organically from all of the business that we've generated.
So are you seeking any funding opportunities now?
Yes, we are now, because we need to grow and we need to ensure that we are ready for the next phase, which is in fact more exciting and requires more investment from us. So, yes, we are presently in the process of fundraising.
Hey, so before we continue, could you tell us a bit about the other two co-founders, Mr. Ajit Kuruvilla and Ashwin Gangakhedkar? We'd love to get to know them as well.
Sure. So, Ashwin is a chartered accountant by training, and he used to run his own business until 3 years ago, which was acquired by the TMF Group, which is a Dutch multinational accounting firm. And after that, he was keen and curious about the audio space, and we happened to sync up at the same time about what he was doing and what I was doing. And we're like, okay, let's try and do this together. Agith is someone I've known for over 20, 22 years now, and he has a very strong background in doing media sales and sort of overall brand generation, brand value driving. So, with Ajit and his skill sets and background, and Ashwin's skill sets and background, it's a very natural fit because the three of us bring in complementary skill sets to this to Ideabrew Studios, and so there's usually a very clear demarcation in who's doing what.
Lovely. So with the three of you, what is the strength of your remaining team and how are the roles divided?
So we are set up to be more of a content business than anything else right now. We have producers whose job is to primarily ideate, come up with content ideas and plans, and actually execute them with internal and wherever required external subject matter experts. Then we have sound engineers whose job is to take that content that's been created, package it, and make it interesting and make it listen worthy. And finally, we've got a team of growth experts, and we work with external marketers as well to make sure that the content reaches as many people as possible and is consumed at the max.
And do you have any open positions that you are looking to fill?
Always looking for quality producers and quality content creators to join the team.
For all those who feel they match the skill set and are interested, go for it, guys. So, Aditya, what's on the horizon for Idea Brew in the next 12 months?
There's a lot that's happening. We are developing a very strong slate of fiction content and storytelling content. We'll continue to move into more languages. We presently have content in 7 languages, and we want to add a few more to this as we continue to follow the data and see where our listeners are based and where the demand is coming from. More importantly, with a lot of content opportunities coming in the tactical space, so some major sporting events coming up later this year, there's already a lot of work happening in that direction. So there'll be a lot of new titles and a lot of new content that we're pushing out later this year.
And is there anything that you are particularly looking forward to?
Oh, I'm always looking forward to newer formats. We are definitely creating more content in video now as we move forward and as the demand for video podcasts goes up. So, on the working with a lot of very high value and high level brand content in the video space, as well as finding newer ways to deliver brand value through audio.
Well, I am certainly optimistic about what lies ahead, and I hope we meet soon again to discuss all those exciting things. Now, considering this video's outreach to all the large enterprises, investors, tech giants, and a broader ecosystem altogether, is there anything else that you'd like to put down that could assist you in finding external assistance?
I think for a lot of fundraise conversations that we've been having, there is a fair bit of misinformation about the audio space in general. And it usually gets compared to video because technically they're both in the content spaces. But whereas in India, it's been a 3, 4, 5 year journey for audio. For video, it's been much longer. The ecosystem has been sort of baked out. There is a strong amount of standardization because, like I said, YouTube is the one primary destination where everyone is consuming content. For audio, there will be a lot of standardization that will happen, but it's going to take a little time. And my only ask of anyone who's looking to get into this space or is looking to invest in this space is give it time, be willing to grow with it, be willing to navigate it, because there's still a fair bit of navigation and hand holding that is required on multiple fronts. But we've already come a long way from where we were, I'd say, even a year ago. And it's just a journey that's going to continue.
Aditya, your journey has been a remarkable blend of taking risks and staying committed to your belief in the power of audio in India. So that's great.
Thank you.
But if you were to look back, what would you say are the top three things that have contributed to your success?
One is, I would say, the availability of podcasts through various first party or third party platforms, however you look at them. So that the time when Spotify decided, for example, that, hey, podcasts is something that we want to distribute, it just gave the medium the opportunity to become a mass medium. The second is, as more creators realized that this is something which is viable, and there's a difference between someone being a YouTube or an Instagram creator and someone being a podcast creator. Uh, there are some transferable skills, but not all of them are. So, not every Instagrammer or YouTuber can be successful in podcasts. But the few that did manage to do this crossover successfully have reaped the benefits. And to all of those who tried, a big thank you, because you brought a lot of attention to this medium. The third is the trust that a lot of brands are starting to place. And one of the first few brands that we worked with, uh, Asian Paints, for example, those are the sort of major brands that need to back this medium, because they have been working on through this medium with us for the last 2, 3 years now. And uh, the the support from a major brand like that only goes a long way in driving further attention and showing other brands that, hey, this is something that can work. So those are the three major points that I've seen in the last 3 years of this journey.
Well, on that note, let's do a quick lightning round.
I-
5 rapid questions. Are you ready?
Is there a hamper at the end?
Yes, I guess. We'll see.
All
Okay.
right.
So, a book that you would recommend to the youth.
There's just so much of it. I'm actually looking at a couple of the books that I'm reading right now. Oh wow, which one do I recommend? Mm, go with Atomic Habits. I know it's a very often recommended one, but one of the things that
Yeah.
everyone needs to build are some strong good habits, but good habits. And I think the book does a great job of giving you a deep understanding of how you can do that. It doesn't tell you what habits, but it tells you the way to build habits. So I think that's something which I'd strongly recommend everyone to read, because uh, the more good habits you're able to build, the better you are able to follow through on a lot of the activities that you really do want to carry out.
Okay. Which productivity tool or app do you find most helpful in your daily work?
Oh boy. Uh, I would say Notion. You know, it gives me a lot of flexibility, allows me to create a longer form repository of things that I want to keep for later, and also there's a fair bit of task management available in there. So Notion is something which I use a lot of, but usually for work it just comes back to a lot of collaborative tools like Google Docs or Google Sheets, which are fantastic when you have more than one person working on them.
Nice. Notion is one of my favorites too. Okay. A fun fact about you that most people don't know.
Oh, a fun fact about me. Hmm. Oh boy, that's difficult. Well, I used to be a photographer a long time ago, doing fashion photography. So I've fallen far away from that career path. I think that's about as fun as it gets.
What's one quality you think is crucial for a founder's success?
Patience, a lot of patience. A lot of the things that you are doing may not work out immediately. A lot of the things you're trying to do will not work out at all. And every so often there will be the lure to give up and just drop this because it's just too hard. But you need to be patient.
Absolutely.
You need to have faith in what you started out to achieve and just stay at it. Persistence and patience is the only thing that will only off.
Great. Okay. Last but not the least, what's one piece of advice for the young audience watching this?
You need to work hard. There is no other option. I don't want to sound like the old man, but I do see a lot of the new young people entering the workforce today who are more worried about quick growth, quick returns, quick shortcuts to success. And I can guarantee you there are none. Okay. uh, any quick shortcuts will always fall short. So just be prepared to work hard, put in the years, put in the learning curve, be committed, and the success will follow. But if you're looking for overnight success, I mean, there's that old saying, overnight success takes a long time. So just live by that adage and it'll serve you well.
Awesome. Aditya, I hope this was worthy of your time. But before I let you go, make a wish for your startup that you hope comes true in the near future.
That we are able to entertain everyone who's listening and more in the years to come.
So with the sharp rise in demand for audio content today, there is no doubt that you will continue to make a significant impact in the industry. So kudos to that. I wish you all the best and thank you so much for gracing the show.
Thank you, Ankita. My pleasure to be on this.
So if you'd like to stay updated with the latest developments and business insights at Ideabrew Studios, you can follow their channel on follow.us/startups. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another conversation. Until next time.